just talked to one of your person, and it's a great thing. In fact, I was thinking why it's called My Startup. And I was like, okay, it's my startup. So and it's a very empathetic way, and really, most of the startups, they don't have that kind of money to do their marketing and to reach to the people, to get the brain space. And it's a real effort that people are putting in. Really, thank you for that.
International Knowledge Millennium Conference 22 was organized in Hyderabad by International Knowledge Park, a life sciences incubator. At the 2 days event, startups were recognized for their work with awards. My Startup TV spoke to awardees on the sidelines of the event. Listen in.
Hi, I'm Priyanjit Ghosh, co-founder and CEO of Logi.ai. I have Mr. Vinay with me. He's part of the founding team also, and I have Anand and Nivedita also with me. So, as you know, the first level of health screening is especially broken in our country, and it is very difficult to screen at the last mile. Be it for oral screening or be it for eye screening, it is very, very difficult to do. Now, there are two major reasons for it. The first reason is that you need various point of care devices and you need a technical expertise to go in the last mile and do the screening. The second reason is that people generally, unless and until it becomes a big problem for them, they do not travel, go to the hospitals or go to the diagnostic centers to do a screening. What we are trying to do is we are trying to create a software as a medical device platform at Logi.ai. So we have created our own AI-based digital health platform, which you can see. By using the existing smartphones, we can take images of eyes to detect various diseases, most importantly like cataract disease, which is responsible for 70% of blindness in India. And we are also working on various screening for various oral diseases like oral caries, oral cancer, etc. Where this is really useful is we are currently already present in the market, done more than 150,000 users have used our platform, and people like Apollo's, Colgate, Dr. Agarwal's across India are using our solution to give early warning signs to the users so that they can become aware and take the care at the right point of time. Currently, we are closing a seed round with some investors, with some angel investors, and we are on the verge of closing it at this moment. So currently, the strategy that which we took was we reached out through the B2B health partners like the larger players which are present pan-India to primarily reach product market fit. And then the next idea would be to reach the smaller players, and that will be our scale-up plan, especially in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities who can use our technology and go about it. The experience has been really good for all of us. Like we are associated with IKP for last few years, and they have helped us financially as well as helped us with the right mentorship also. And now they are also providing us the right platform where we can interact with our peers, interact with mentors, get feedback. So yes, it has been very good and helpful for us.
International Knowledge Millennium Conference 22 was organized in Hyderabad by International Knowledge Park, a life sciences incubator. At the 2 days event, startups were recognized for their work with awards. My Startup TV spoke to awardees on the sidelines of the event. Listen in.
Hi, I am Nitin Avasthi and I am representing RCapsys Techno Solutions Private Limited. I am a co-founder and my other founder is Mr. Kishore. And this particular device has been a smart inhaler, an expert inhaler, which is supposed to be creating adherence, and it is also supposed to be teaching the people as to how do they use the normal asthmatic inhalers. So this is a BLE connected device in which the information from the mobile phone can be transferred to the inhaler as well as on the other side also. So this particular device is a very smart device which can remind you when to take the medication and how to take the medication. So there is a procedure how you are supposed to be inhaling, where you are supposed to be blowing out the air from your mouth and then pressing it and then inhaling it, so that the medication actually goes and resides inside the lungs properly. So this particular device will be able to identify when you are supposed to be taking the medication, so it can remind you with the method of vibration or a beep or both. And it can also identify, because it has got a device like gyro and an accelerometer inside, with which it can find out at what particular angle did you take it. It has got a timekeeping IC with which you can find out at what particular time did you take the medication. And so we can also get a lot of adherence for your medication, so that you don't miss your medication on time. There are two types of medications. One is called as the maintenance dose, and the other one is only when it is required. So the patients who are supposed to be taking it on a regular basis, this particular device is very, very important for them, so that their asthma does not get flared up, and they can make sure that there are no asthma flare-ups. This particular thing is not there right now, but using our algorithms, we wish that after some particular time with our machine learning algorithm, we'll be able to predict that if a certain kind of condition is prevailing, which can be on the weather, which can be on the things which are ongoing in his personal life, which is based on a survey, then we might be able to predict that you might have a next flare-up at this particular time. So as of now, we are in the prototype stage, where this particular device is, you can say, 70% ready, and we are expecting that with all the testing and all, it should be ready to go into the market within 6 months. From the technology side, we have been able to basically cover up all the things. So after this, we need to get connected with the right partner. So we are in talks with some of the pharmaceutical giants, and with them, we'll be able to bring it to the market in a much better way. Our device is going to be exactly the same. Maybe it might be slightly broader in size because of the extra added electronics into it, but the size and the shape and the method of usage will be exactly the same. Since this particular device is going to be slightly smarter, so we can expect that when compared to a normal inhaler, it might be at double the cost. So if a medicine is being in the market for about 300 to 500 rupees, this particular device should be in the market for about 800 to 1500 rupees. There are 33 crore patients worldwide, out of which 2 crore patients are in India alone. Since it is a regular thing and it is a multiple usage device that we are trying to make it, so it should not be too much of a problem for a person to afford. And nowadays, I believe 1000 to 1500 rupees is not a very big deal for any of the middle class family also to afford. And this will make sure that this is typically to be used by the young generation, or you can say the young friends, the kids, and the very elderly people who might forget to take their medications on time. So this is typically important for them to be using this.
My name is Hanvesh Jalapalli, and we are from Nirvesh Enterprises. So I manage the company. I'm the CEO of the company. So we are building India's first wearable technology which monitors the brain health management. So it's comprised of two parts, software and hardware. So software is completely app-based, where we provide the cloud-based services to the patient as well as the care providers. And the hardware is completely related to the point of care devices, diagnostic technology, where we'll be having the FNRI system, which is a complementary to fMRI, and also the EEG, which will be having a conventional method where we carry the EEG using the in-ear canal instead of a head scan. So this is the overall brief, but we are completely into two verticals, brain injury as well as the stroke management. So in our pathway, we are into epilepsy, schizophrenia, and Parkinson's. Our solution is a post-operative care management, especially for caretakers as well as for the rehab centers. We are looking for funding of 4 crores for scaling up our product, and currently we are having grants from BIRAC as well as Nidhi Prayas. and we're thankful for the IKP support because of the mentoring as well as for the grant. So we are in a current state of validation where we are looking for the cohorts help also for the validated products. So once we are done, we will be going for the CDSCO license along with the EU MDR. We have challenges, especially for the population and cohorts, because it's a very niche population as well as the market where the penetration is very less in India. Once we have approval, then we can go for abroad.
My name is Dr. Shiv Shekhar Rai. I'm from Osmania University and from Biochemistry Department. And from that university, we have created a startup named Sensofil Biotech Private Limited. And here, we are developing a product that can actually revolutionize the detection of protein structure alteration. Like what happens in several cases, if you synthesize a protein, if you transport a protein, biosimilar, enzyme, and antibody, what happens? There is a change of activity, change of its minimum structure. Now, what the setup is there as a state of art, like the cyclodichromism, NMR, HPLC, those techniques are very, very costly and not affordable by all of them, and they are very much time taking. Here, what we are offering is a technique that can be used in a normal laboratory atmosphere using instrument like UV spectroscopy, simple image processing, and by doing that, you can say whether the protein structure is all right or there is any change of structure. So, without using any high-end instrumentation and inexpensive methods, we can give you an output that is given in a 10 times less expensive way compared to the state of the art. This is what we are presenting by this prototype. It's QC-Prot TM. There are several benefits to start with. Suppose you are synthesizing a protein in a biopharma industry. Now, there are several batches of processing you do. So, if you have to quality control of all your batches through the existing techniques, it will cost you a fortune. But if you use our method by simply using 10 to 15 minutes using a very traditional instrumentation, you can finish everything and with 100% assurance and accuracy of your result. Suppose you are sending a protein for a transport purpose, and after the transport, when you are receiving a protein, whether it is coming to you in a proper condition or not, you can simply check that one by using this kit, and you will get the result whether that protein has any structural change or not. You can rely on something or not. Whether the protein which is lying on your desk for several years or several months even, whether that can be thrown away or that can be used. It's valid for very, very expensive proteins, which normally you buy once in a few years. Size market is huge. The biosimilar market in India itself is more than 200 to 300 crores. And if you see the global market in 2023, it is around it's around close to 8 trillion. It is close to 8 trillion, including biosimilars, enzyme, antibodies, everything. So our market is placed not in India, it's in US, Eurozone, Australia, China, Japan. So all those countries have potential to be used this technique because no such technique available globally. I can say globally, which can actually tell you the structure of protein, whether there is any change or not, using simple UV spectroscopy or using simple image analysis technique. Actually, our product that is QC-Prot kit, so they can be used by biopharma, biotech who are actually synthesizing products, who are actually validating enzymes, antibodies, biosimilars for various kind of purposes, like creating life-saving drugs, point of care enzyme and drugs for identification of many methods. So on these cases, they can be a very much cheaper and efficient alternative compared to the existing techniques like CD, NMR, HPLC. We are in the prototype stage. We have validated on our own laboratory conditions. Now we are looking to validate in third-party validators, like in companies which will be interested to test our technique. We are actually finishing that point, that proof of concept within a month. So we will be going for validation stage from next year. So hopefully within 1 to 2 years, we will be ready to enter the market. and for that we will be needing funding for validation part, and also our national patent is already done. We are actually going to receive it within a few months and applying for the international patent like a PCT. So PCT we are filing this month. So for that PCT purpose and validation purpose, we will be requiring additional of 20 lakhs for that purpose, and to run the show, to get our lab doing our daily jobs. So for next 2 years, it will be around 20 to 30 lakhs more. So we are looking at between 50 to 70 lakhs for a complete commercialization of our product. For commercial production, the investment main component will be kit development. So kit development in ISO regularized company. We are already in a few weeks away to get our own ISO regulation. We are going through ISO 13485 regulation certification. As soon as we get the certification, we can directly go with commercialization and preparation of our own kits. Then we can do it in-house, and with very much a sterile atmosphere, we can do it in ourselves. So for that, we need to recruit more people. So in that case, recruitment budget, and for sterile component, we may need an additional of around 10 to 20 lakhs, between 10 to 20 lakhs, based on how much we are getting the initial orders that will be required for our commercialization part. But that will be after 2 years from now, when our validation will be done. 1 to 2 years from now. We will start with national, and as soon as our international patent is granted, we will go for the international marketing as well. For IKMC actually provided such a nice platform that it's not only like presenting your thing, you're knowing so much from the other presenters as well. There are great mentoring sessions. We have given excellent ideas and mentorships such that we can go to the next stages. So overall, a nice ecosystem has been derived from the IKMC. So we have attended IKMC for last 2 years, but that was online. So you never get the actual flavor until you go to the offline or physical mode. So this is an excellent experience as far as our case is concerned.
We are an award-winning company. We are working in health tech. We have this device. It is a made-in-India device. This is called handheld spirometer. This device is connected through via Bluetooth to our app. Our company is established in 2018. We actually work very deeply in understanding the respiratory issues, the health issues around the chest and around the lungs. We are already been working very closely with the government of India. Our device is CDSO approved, and we are into the market for upscaling ourselves. We are associated with CCMB for last 1 year. We are using our device particularly for understanding the COPD issues in masses, and we are very happy to be here to showcase our product, to understand what we can help government and what we can help the private sector to understand the lung problems. So we are the product is market ready. We are already working in market. We are working through hospitals in Maharashtra region mostly. Due to COVID, our market readiness got little delayed, but it's okay. It was a part of up and down of a startup, I can say. We are already here to give an idea to government how the mortality rate can be reduced by doing a pre-testing of people or masses for the lung functionality. The funding part, I can say, we have been fortunate enough because of Dr. Ramji's help. We have been given a few grants from the government of India, also government of Telangana, like Nidhi for COVID, and we look forward for a B2B kind of a sector through government and through other private players who can make a policy where we do a mass screening of people for COPD and asthma. Like in children also, there is a lot of asthma segment which is unidentified or unspoken about. So we really look forward for more connects and more understanding in the market and in the government to make this screening is one of the most vital parameters in the most diagnostic sector. Yeah, so what we call it as a project SAVE. We have done this kind of a project in COVID in Mumbai Municipal Corporation as well. Now we are doing it under the central government, under Honorable Minister Dr. Bharti Pawar. Under her constituency in Nasik, we are going ahead with this project where we do mass screening of the people. In the mass screening, we get to know how the health is of the patient or the person who has been. And further to that, we take that person or the patient ahead for the treatment or the further diagnosis. So this device basically, sir, can do 3 type of testing. It can do a screening, it can do a mini spirometry, and it can do a total PFT, that is a total functions test of the patient. This is very useful for the TB recovered patients also. So as India leads for India minus TB or India without TB, this device can help TB patients to understand how they have come out of TB, how their lungs are working after TB. And yes, COPD is a silent killer which nobody talks about. So we actually work very closely for COPD and asthma reduction. Right. So AIC CCMB came to us through Dr. Ramji, of course. Me and the company, myself and Dr. Ramji are working closely in some other, organizations' work. And we got this opportunity to be associated with CCMB. And I can definitely tell you one of the coolest place, even if it is the technology place, because the whole atmosphere in CCMB is so cohesive for the startup. We feel, we won't feel any pressure for asking any help, and I always believe that any startup should keep asking for help, because nothing is person made or self made. You need an organization like CCMB who gives you a helping hand, where we can put up our idea into the market, we can get a support, not only a technical support but otherwise also a networking platform. So we are really very fortunate to be associated with CCMB for last more than 1 year now. Thank you so much.
I am Dr. Senthil Vinayagam, Chief Executive Officer and Principal Scientist of A-IDEA, one of the technology business incubator of ICAR North. We have partnered with My Startup TV on their OTT channel to share or to showcase all our events, programs, activities in the promotion of startups and also entrepreneurs. We understand that My Startup TV OTT channel is one of the first platform which has dedicated for startups entrepreneur. We are happy to be a part of with them for last 3 years to organize every event, and I request you can check out from our My Startup TV OTT channel to see all our programs in a due course of time.
We are a core data science company, and our expertise is building knowledge integration platforms using semantic intelligence technologies. At AIC CCMB, we are building a genomics platform to basically detect, diagnose, and research rare genetic disorders in humans. Yeah, so we have just about completed our MVP, and we have launched our alpha. Oops. Okay. Yeah, sure. We've just launched our alpha version of the platform. It's currently undergoing testing at CCMB and CDFD. Yeah, so we've been able to raise quite an amount of funding in the last 1 year thanks to the support that we have received from CCMB. We will take roughly about 3 to 6 months to hit the market. And yeah, we've received a lot of support from AIC CCMB in terms of setting up the data contract. As you understand, our platform requires a lot of data to be able to test it across a wide range of diseases. And we've received support not only on the data front, but also from domain front. We have a lot of CCMB scientists and clinical geneticists who are actually testing our platform. Yes, in fact, our initial framework that we developed, we presented in the prestigious data science conference in India, and our entry was won the best demo award at that particular platform. Yeah. We have raised close to 1.5 crores from multiple areas. The mighty DST grant, and then there was the angel fund also that we raised. We also raised the NSTEDB grant. We are looking for another round of close to 1 or 2 crores to go further until we hit the commercial stage. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I am Dr. Gaurav Gupta, the Chief Operating Officer at Avishkaran, the Bionist of Naipur, Hyderabad. We have partnered with My Startup TV, the OTT platform, to showcase startup news, views, and events from Avishkaran. My Startup TV is the world's first OTT platform dedicated to startups and entrepreneurs. So do check out and follow Avishkaran OTT platform only on My Startup TV OTT channel.
AIC CCMB organized startup social event at Hyderabad. Prominent leaders from biotechnology sector addressed the gathering. Listen in.
Welcoming the online guests of us today. I am Ramji. I work as a Chief Operating Officer at AIC CCMB. I think most of you may be knowing AIC CCMB is kind of sector specific incubator, especially into life science and healthcare. 5-year-old journey that we have seen here with by inducting actually 85 plus startups here, startups and innovators, and some of the startups could able to go global, and some have seen their products commercialized, and we have some stories here. So I formally welcome you all, because you are eagerly waiting to hear what other experts today they'll be discussing about how to actually productize. So LVPI and of course our colleagues will be talking, but before I invite them, quickly to say, once you actually hear this panel discussion and to see what's happening out here, maybe you can see our facilities. Of course, we ran out of space. That is one thing I can say. But yes, virtual space is always welcome here. So we work together, LV Prasad and many other incubators and other institutions. So please come and actually engage with us constantly. And whenever you have something, you need something, please ask us. We have different programs and also seed fund, especially for healthcare medtech. So close to $1.5 million fund dedicated for seed fund. And other than that, we have different programs like SPOSH fellowship program, TIDE program. I'm not going to mention because I don't want to show any slides now. But yeah, thank you so much for joining here physically, and of course our online friends there. Now I request LUPI team so that please come and give welcome address from your what you can say. Many of the people might have not visited there, so we have to actually tease them. That's what I can say, because I have seen there. So please, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ramji, for this opportunity to work together on this startup social. Welcome to Kumar's Mr. Shirish Kumar and Shiv Kumar. And also welcome to Dr. Mr. Pankaj Thakur. Thank you so much for being here today. So I just don't want to take too much time. LV Prasad is not-for-profit organization taking care of multiple levels of patients from bottom up or top down model, where at the top at Hyderabad we have a center of excellence, and at the bottom we have what we call village vision complex. So totally we are at 264 locations in 3+1 state in India. That's what we do, from precision care to primary care. This is what we generally cater to. And in Hyderabad, it's a city with a lot of technology, I must say. And we are also into medtech in terms of innovation, because our innovation center for technology innovation center is close to 10-year-old now. And in the last few years, we also have our own incubation center, basically catering to medtech products. So that's what is being done, and we have few of the products, and we have some of the incubators now with us. And Hyderabad is a good ecosystem for all of this, from prototyping to productization to marketing and validation, because anything related to ophthalmology or any healthcare, we can validate across our network from top to down, be it secondary level, be it primary level, be it at the center of excellence. So that's the advantage what we have. And we are very, very happy to collaborate with the Atal Incubation Center here. This is also one of our partners, because that's where we coexist, because each of us have some strength, and we work on that so that it helps the larger group of people. And I want to welcome all of you for this, and I'm looking forward to the panel discussion. Thank you very much for having us today here. Thank you.
I think let's have a quick discussion with the panel members. Today we have Mr. Pankaj Thakur from Paddock Ventures and Shishir from Huel and Sif Bio, and of course other companies maybe. So, and also Incumed, unfortunately Shiva is not joining, but Surya Rao from Altheon, he's also one of our successful startups who actually developed water technology, ultra pure technologies. He'll be joining. So before he come, I think Pankaj would like to present or talk about 5 minutes or so that each speaker can speak about 5 minutes. Then we can actually go for a quick discussion.
So you put me on the spot, but that's okay. So what would you like to hear? Let me understand. I mean, I can tell my story, which is 37-year-old. You'll get bored. So what do you want to hear about? Give me something that you really care about in startup world. What is it? I know everybody who comes into our office is looking for funding, and I don't want to talk about that, because that's the most difficult subject to explain. And though we've got about 100 startups funded in the last 4.5 years, but I don't want to boast about that, because that's what we do for a living anyway. But that's a process. So anybody else wants to know anything other than the funding?
So
yes.
Few companies in healthcare and
so I'll talk about our latest that we are going to do now. We've been asking corporate world, and these are really the people with the money and non-CSR funding to come in and open and help the various verticals, including healthcare. And we've been talking to about 30 odd corporates, really pushing them to contribute not only by this, not only their money, but their entire value chain into the system, so that startups can actually take advantage of that, leverage it, and grow. And one such came across, and fortunately it's in healthcare, GSK. So GSK and us are now trying to help healthcare startups, and we kept it very broad because if you narrow down, see, drug discovery, GSK will never be able to actually do that because it's a global mandate. But GSK India is a listed company, has some power to itself. So they said, okay, we want to do these 5 things. The first thing they came up with, how can we actually leverage data? We don't have data. And seriously, they don't have data. They are completely opaque to the entire system. What doctor is writing to what patient, they have no clue. And from there, what it comes to chemist and what chemist gives, they have no clue. They only have clue is what they ship to their distributor, and distributor gives it to retailer. And how much of that gets sold is a matter of reconciliation of inventory. But the important part, and we all understand, in tomorrow's world, data is what's going to drive any company's growth, and healthcare is no exception. So if any one of you have any healthcare data related startup, there is 4 things available to you. One, of course, a very structured approach, handheld holding you for next 2 years to grow, first sustain, grow, and then scale. In the first phase of 6 months, you will get 3 crores worth of funding if you qualify. And it will be at a fair market value. Nobody is asking. There will be external investors who will validate you, and GSK is going to get a co-invest in that. That's the first thing. Second thing, you will get access to entire GSK's network if you're looking for a distribution or if you're looking to access doctors, patients. As he said, they can validate anything in ophthalmology. GSK also had certain, about 30 odd, 40 odd SKUs. They can actually help you validate those ideas into this. They have access to doctors, hospitals, and to everybody else. So that's another thing. Third thing they bring to the table is the domain knowledge. The pharma industry or healthcare industry is now really, health pharma cannot say that I am a separate than healthcare or, generic or even cosmetics for that matter. They have a lot of cosmetics products which they want to plan to launch and they don't know how to do it, primarily because they're a pharma company. They have a consumer product company which sells your, toothpaste and all that, but that's different. So that's the third thing you get is you get all the domain knowledge. Their entire team is ready to help you, handhold you, and take you. Fourth thing is they bring us PadUp in. What does PadUp do? We have created programs which will help startups go through a process of creating a customized business plan where investors can write check. That's what I said. 100 companies have actually raised money. One of the companies actually is from here, Semantic Web. You'll be surprised that we took Semantic Web through the program and they were not really interested in raising money. They got a big grant. They were very happy. So I told Dr. Asha that, look, there is a chance because our program culminates on a demo day. And there was a lot of investor interest and this team of husband and wife was not ready to take money. It took me 3 months to convince her to take money. And the day she said, okay, I'll take money, I think I need about 1 crore. And we put it on our angel group. We have an angel group of friends of PadUp. Within 1 hour, she got 1 crore. We opened at 5 in the evening. We closed at 6 in the evening. She would have actually got 3-4 crores that day. And the money is lying in a bank. She's not spending it for some reason. She's supposed to be here today or maybe meet me tomorrow in Bangalore. And, the idea is funding is actually a output of what you do. Funding is not input for what you do. People who chase money will waste time, effort. So I have been 3 times over entrepreneur. 25 years I have been doing this for a living. First time was not really a classical entrepreneur, but I used to work for HCL, came out of HCL, and all I knew was how to push boxes, right? So you're selling computers 500 rupees less, 1,000 rupees less, and we used to do box pushing. And after 5 years, I got bored and I picked up my bag and went to US and created a startup there. When I created a startup there, raised a lot of money, but because of 9/11, it just went down and under. I buried it ceremoniously and came back. right? And that time I realized that I chased, before I saw my first term sheet, I had already knocked 50 doors in US. I used to go every day. I used to drive on the wrong side of the car, wrong side of the road, as per me, that was wrong side, and end up in Palo Alto or, Sand Hill and things like that. And, it was very difficult I called router a router. I didn't understand what schedule means because we had schedule. I didn't understand what month on month mean. Month on month, what is he saying? I don't know. How does month on month, we say month after month. Anyway, I struggled through that and I realized that it's not that the way. I got a mentor to myself. This mentor was a junior from my college, but had gone and worked, later on came to MIT Manipal, and then worked there and had made it big. $400 million he had made. So he said, okay, I'll give you $1 million, but you have to listen to me. I said, tu mera junior hai, kaisi baat kar raha hai? He said, but you don't know anything about this place. Next 6 months, he gave me $1 million. We worked upon everything, hired people. And in next 6 months, we raised about, first round was $8 million. Next round, after that, about a year later, about another $7 million, $15 million we raised. And this gentleman handheld me through all this process. Unfortunately, the company did not do well and I came back. And then I did another startup called Cellcast in India, ran for 10 years. My last yearly revenue was about 200 crores. And I sold that company in 2013. And since then, I'm trying to figure out how do I help startups to take my gyan and become successful. So I have gone with my baggage, institute by institute. 250 odd institutes I've covered, including IIT, IIMs, whosoever called me, I went there, you pay my ticket, I'll come. And the learning from there is that there are no takers of entrepreneurs in this country, primarily because the ROI doesn't work out. Today, even in the smallest of the smallest college, the engineering cost 4-year is about 16 lakhs. Now, out of 16 lakhs, somebody, lower middle class person paying for their children, the child should not be doing entrepreneurship, and I support that. But what I'm trying to say here is that entrepreneurship does not come when you come out of the college. It comes when you work for 10 years and then start doing something. And when you start doing something, if you start chasing money, it will never come. You'll have to chase the business. And best way to chase the business is hire a mentor. Get a mentor on board, and he'll help you open doors. He'll help you create an ecosystem. He'll help you create strategic partners. And sometimes he'll even put up his money. So we have about 80 mentors and each one of them actually doubles up as an investor. And the reason for that is because mentorship till now has been very ad hoc and informal. Mentors' skin in the game is not there. And when a skin in the game is, he should write a check, even if it is for 2 lakhs, to your company for a fair market value and then help you go that distance, which is about 3 years. 95% of the companies fail within 3 to 5 years of their existence. 95%. And the only reason they fail is they don't have mentors. Only reason. Everybody has an idea, products, blah, blah, blah. What they don't have is business. And because they don't have business, they can't get funding. And because they can't get funding, they go down and under. So get a mentor. And for a startup, I say get a life. That's it. Any questions? We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
I think, I'm sorry, please, just a quick question. Sometimes it's also critical to know how to choose a mentor. So what would your criteria be to choose a mentor?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, to choose a mentor, first of all, don't think he's a consultant. They're not going to work you. They're not going to work for you. And don't expect him or her to babysit you. A mentor is a person who has the domain and business knowledge both. It cannot be only domain. And I sit on IIT Delhi's review board and I see it every day where the professors are mentors and the startups struggle primarily because there is no business sense that actually prevails over them. So yeah, and second thing, there has to be a formal arrangement where there has to be maybe a small equity given to the mentor. And if mentor can invest, that's like icing on the cake.
I think still the answer is how to choose a mentor. That's the question.
So there are two things. I mean, somebody told me this long. First, look for the chemistry. If chemistry works out, math will automatically work out.
I now request Shishir to please introduce yourself.
To give you a brief, I started one company called RAS Life Sciences in 2008 along with my wife. She is a PhD from CCMB as well. And then exited it in 2017. We sold to Biomerio, a French company, and then started two more companies. One named Huel Life Sciences, which is human welfare. So no connection to China. Please don't think Huel is something which is related to human welfare. And then subsequently another company called Sirf Bio, which Hindi wala Sirf, so Sirf Bio. So we make equipment over there for biology. Other one we make equipment, reagents. So we make end-to-end in diagnostics. We make enzymes, we make plastics, we make primers and probe, we make all for diagnostics, especially RT-PCR related stuff. Along with right now, we are also making rapid lateral flow assays. So fortunately or unfortunately, COVID struck. So we did good. So we were the largest sellers in the country. We sold around 4.35 crores of tests with completely indigenization, and we did decent. We did more than 100 crores. So we did fairly well. Last 3 years, we are doing fine. We have built a big facility, which is at Sultanpur Medical Devices Park. And currently, we have around 72 employees, which include PhDs, masters. So many. I think fortunately, once you have little bit money, you can attract good talent as well. So that's the unfortunate thing of startups, because many times when you feel that you need good people, you need money for that, and you need money, and you need actually acceptance. Mental attitude of startup guys is always why I need to pay that much, because you don't have that vision to see whether they would be really useful or whether I can make a product out of it or whether they can be of helpful or not. So that's one big challenge. But once you have certain money in company, so you get that confidence levels, which are definitely are worth enough to hire good people. So it's currently doing well. We are exporting. We started exports right now, and we exported to UAE, we exported to Sri Lanka, right now Philippines, and we are also getting product registered in Brazil. So that's a short success story, which lasts 3.5 years story. And currently another good part is we got through Technology Development Board award, and we also raised fund from SIDBI. So there are private investors who are looking at investing, but currently we raised from SIDBI and TDV. So that's in story. Thank you.
And I request Ratnam sir, please say about the facilities, and many are excited to actually use the facility. So it's please.
Thanks, Ramji. Thanks, everyone. So I come from Eli Prasad Eye Institute. So basically, I'm a biomedical engineer, and we have started the Center for Technology Innovation about a decade ago, inaugurated by none other than Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And since then, our journey was quite upward, and we created, its journey started with basically getting the import replacements 10 years ago. And then we slowly developed our own concepts. Why not we do that? We do this. And then we made something. In the early times, we tell the concepts to some of the MNCs, some, Swedish companies or, some European, US companies, and they would make it. They would bring in the change. They would bring in the model and say that, okay, this is, this particular scissor told by you, and we made it. And slowly we thought, like any other industry in India, slowly we also get our own confidence and making our own things. That's how we landed up making our own products, our own patents, and details like that. And just a couple of years ago, we got this opportunity, and we started this Bionest incubator. So this is the first hospital-based incubator in India. So many startups, like funding is one big problem, of course. People is another big problem. But when it comes to healthcare, one of the biggest problem is clinical validation. Anywhere you take your product and so can you do the clinical validation, the first thing they say, who have the time? I mean, even some of the big organizations who have that kind of a resource, they create a department, including Eli Prasad Institute, called Clinical Research Department, who can do the validation, but it comes with a heavy cost. And therefore, if I walk through and then ask some of my own consultant, can you do this validation? Again, they would say, Ratnam, you know me, I'm seeing 100 patients a day and blah, blah, blah. It's too difficult for them. But what happened is, some of the startup meetings also, this question came up. They were saying that, look, my problem is, I made this IoT-based devices connecting all the ECGs and central display, whatever concept they come out. But my problem is I could not validate it. I said, this is the place. We have the hospital-based incubator, which is a beautiful marriage between the healthcare facility and the startup facility. So that's what Ramji was saying, that look, they have something which we don't have, is on prototyping, and other one is, the clinical validation. Of course, our skill set, what we have in-house ranges from mechanical engineer to industrial design engineers, electronic engineers, embedded engineers, and machine operators, and even clinicians, optometrists, ophthalmologists. So many people work together there. And that's a beautiful melting pot for different talents come together to help you. So the facilities what we got thanks to Bharat and also LVPI management, we have put up one of the most precision equipment to do the prototyping, which can go to the level of microns, because we look at ophthalmology. So some of the scleral lens, for example, we make, even we have a production unit for them, which makes it to the level of sub-millimeter range, and even optical, any kind of material. It could be a PMMA, like a polymer, or it could be aluminum, it could be brass, any kind of things. We could facilitate all that. So that kind of prototyping. And of course, we, with AIC, CCMB, like many other partners, we can also link up and be a one-stop shop for doing many things, in all the way up to from idea to POC to prototype, and even industrial design, form factor, all the way up to a clinical validation, which is the sort of acid test for any product. And once it passes, I guess, the idea is good, it should sell. I just want to share one small information from one of the angel investor. I'd never met her before, but she just bumped on me in one of the BITS Pilani campus or a similar social startup social. So she was mentioning that, Ratnam, I know LVPI. So I was wondering, you're from Delhi. How do you know about LVPI? So she was mentioning, no, 30% of our current investment goes into healthcare. I was asking, are you focusing on it? She said, no, we are not pulling it. It is being pushed and it is good. So by automatically my investment on the healthcare is increased. It is 30% is huge compared to agri-tech, fintech, edtech, and so many other things, what they're doing. And she mentioned that 2 of the recent startup funding based on LVPI clinical validation. I said, wow, I didn't know that. It has attracted that much of attention, and validation is so useful to get the funding. So, as he said, chase the business, of course, after validating clinically or while clinically validating it. Because the process of prototyping from T0, T1 and all that, you would fine-tune it towards the business, actual value adding to the customer or reducing the pain to the customer in some way. So, we are open, we are available. And we could help you with all the way, especially in ophthalmology, clinical validation. We have some of the international standards for research is one of the founding pillars of Eli Prasad Eye Institute, and clinical research is part of it. So we'll be able to help you, even if you think that, you don't know anything about clinical validation, we'll be able to help you right from the drawing board all the way up to the final stage. Thanks, Anji.
Incumed member Shiva is not here today because of some family emergency, and very fortunate to have Surya Rao here from Altheon, one of the startups of us, and he moved to a bigger facility from here. Surya, please.
So, hi everyone, Surya here. We have a facility like 100 meters from here, which is why Ramji called me when somebody didn't show up. No worries. So, how many of you are trying to make medical equipment startups? Build medical equipment startups here? 1, 2, 3, 4. One was okay. 4 of you. Excellent. So we started our journey in IICT, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology. We wanted to make a medical RO plant based on certain innovative novel membranes, right? And we did that. And validation, we had to do validation. So that was a big challenge. So we were fortunate to speak to NephroPlus, who is India's largest chain of dialysis centers, and they gave us an opportunity to pilot in Maritpally, which is about 3-4 kilometers here. So they didn't use it in patients. They ran it for a couple of months. They tested it for another couple of months and then started using it. So that's how we started off. So once the orders from NephroPlus started coming in, we were able to go to other companies and say, this is something we've already proven and it's been working with patients. So that's how we started off. So prototyping, if you want to talk about prototyping, which is part of the focus today, right? So I'd say validation, very, very critical. No matter how you do it, either with mentors or if you have to convince somebody, you have to validate before you go too deep into any, because it's your time and money you're talking about. So it's better to fail fast and move on to the next better one rather than get stuck with a lame horse, if you will. So that's been my biggest takeaway. And once you go deeper into a particular thing that people know that you can make things that are necessary, you are in the position to make better things, diverge, and increase your revenues and so on. So the first project you pick is very critical. It'll either kill or drive your company forward. That would be my key takeaway. Spend a little bit more time, but get something right the first time. If not, you're dead eventually. Thank you.
So I welcome Dr. Madhusudan Rao, our CEO. Fortunate to join just now. I would like to hear a few words from you, Madhu.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I just missed the first 10 minutes of it. And welcome to each one of you for coming here. And then, of course, Shishir is our old friend. Surya, of course, went out of our place. And I met L.V. Prasad's the Bionis Center, which is fantastically equipped for a certain kind of medtech equipment. It's I think even Sadhguru is kind of hand-holding the place. And I kind of take care of AIC here, and I'm sure most of you have seen the place. And if not, please make some time to see the place. And we are into idea to development stage, not at a product development. Once they become mature product, they leave us and then go on to go to a larger place. So this is what we are, and I'm sure I just leave it at that. But have a good discussion, and especially having people with a lot of experience around, I think it'll be a great opportunity to get rid of some cobwebs. And welcome again for being here. Thank you.
Few of the questions that are really bugging me to ask these couple of entrepreneurs, and of course Ali Prasad. So money, of course, we have money in India, right, Pankaj? So really lots of it. So that's why let's quickly discuss on the struggles that startups generally face. I'll go first with Shishir, because 15 years before, or almost close to 15 years, because when I was at IKP, the story of Biomure, initial 60%, then to final 100% to Biomure. So that time and to now, maybe at least more than a dozen of such diagnostic kits or any other devices through SIF Bio in partnership with IncuMed or any other partners. How did you kind of crack those, productization? Because that is the first step. Most of the people, they know, okay, if I want to do this lateral flow device based technology, or maybe biosensing technology, any other technology, the science side, they're okay. But once you want to make something in hand, a kind of tangible thing, many of the startups are really struggling, where to go and, which can be the affordable one. So how did you crack that for your products, and what do you suggest to the innovators right now in the current generation?
Yeah, I think what Surya said, I agree with that. You have to validate your idea, and I think there's the toughest journey is to take some other's technology and work on it rather working yourself. Because I appreciate what Surya have done, because taking a technology from Indian institutes is a big challenge, especially take it IITs or CCMBs or any institutes, because they are not tuned to those sort of industrialization. So currently what we have done is we have been in diagnostic services first before entering into diagnostics, because we understood, we worked with various kits. We have diagnostic services, and we did fairly good diagnostic services across. So we understood what are the pitfalls and what are the loopholes, and we know, and that created a good repository of samples for us to test our own kits.
What are they? I mean, the loopholes.
Yeah, in the sense, currently most of, I don't believe too much innovation in country. Objective is to have more import substitution. Innovation is a big buzzword to get funding, and especially without that, having that innovation word, probably funders are not that keen, or not even BIRAC guys are keen or to get a big grant or any of this. So believe that first of all, you have to believe that your product is useful for masses. See, once you create a product which is usable, money is always there. So money always follows, but objective is, first is the selection of the product. You have to select such a product where regulations are not very high, which eat away most of your money, because many of the entrepreneurs start with bootstrapping. They sell their whatever they have, assets, or I think most of them, I think the same with Surya and myself. So I think we when we started, we sold our house, and we had very little knowledge of finance. I think the finance part is very, very missing in all of the entrepreneurs. Most, and I think even those are from big financial institutions also miss the financial part. So understand, and we don't make Excels. I knew Excel only after finishing of acquisition of one company. So getting into finance, I bought first book in 2000, I think 10 or 11, Financials for Dummies, because I didn't know about authorized capital, didn't know about paid up capital and all that stuff, acquisitions and all this was not part. So that, see, financials are the things which you need to learn more, and to have a complete planning, take more time on planning. That's what I learned during my entrepreneurial journey. Take more and more time to design, plan, execute. But that takes a long time, because those who are scientists, they are more, they jump first onto the problem, because they know that that's the easiest thing what they can do. Because planning is something which is very, very critical. Until unless you plan well with all angles of technical, financial. So you have to do complete detailed project report of your own project, which we generally tend to not to do any documentation. Before starting any project, we don't do documentation at all. So most of the companies I have seen that we haven't given a complete, right from the screw to the complete device, we need to have a complete awareness of where exactly the product is and how the product looks like, or what exactly is needed. We don't have that complete cycle of events which goes into a product development, and that has to be documented before starting your project. Don't document for the sake of somebody or a funding agency, or the guy who gives you land, or the guy who gives you an incubation center. So please plan according to that. So that's the biggest learning what I feel is to have any initiation of any project. And as I said, validation is a big challenge, not only for devices but even diagnostics. Though we are plenty, we top in the list of TB, we top in the list of HIV, we don't get samples. We don't. People are not. There are no enough centers, and unfortunately, CDC-ESCO has its own regulatory schemes, which you need to do only in government labs, or whether they are accredited or not, you need to do in government labs. That's unfortunate thing. So whether they are following the regulations or not, we need to do in government labs. So many of those, there are some, I think it's changing, but it has to change quite a bit to encourage more manufacturers. So validations is critical. So you need to, these are all part of your whole design document. You need to have a complete design document before you initiate a project.
Thank you very much. I think the lifting of the project is the key. Where, how do you do that? Good points on planning of it, but again, that includes financial. That's what you hinted upon, because although the mandate that we are having today is about productization, that's not about the physical product that we want to see. That's linked to all these, the regulatory, the prototyping, and the team and everything. So, touching upon to those points, Surya, do we have such kind of, for example, facilities, prototyping facilities, the Bangalore is having its own style, Delhi, not maybe in the main city, but again, Hyderabad, Balnagar areas, what are the crude way of prototyping and all. Now T-Works came. What you have seen, being an incubation manager earlier, you had an incubation and you built incubation centers about 10 years before. So how did you actually crack in your journey? And actually, what is the first thing an innovator should see if you want to prototype something? Can you please tell something about it?
So we use the word, your idea should have legs, which means does it have the potential to go on and survive on its own? That's very important. So prototyping, funding, all that will fall into place if your idea has commercial value primarily. So that is the first step. That's what I think everybody was touching upon. And you can't really, being in incubation centers, having run them, being part of CCMB's incubation center. See, many of our colleagues kind of dream about the usefulness of their idea, and imagine that's such a fantastic idea. It cannot be done like that. You have to go to the users, the end users, and figure out if it's really valuable or not. So from there starts your prototype. So another thing is we can't have a perfect prototype, right? We have to have something that does the minimum job required of it. It's called an MVP, right? Minimum viable product. Yeah. So you got to do that. So in our case, we ran to Balanagar. This was pre T-Works. So there'd be a giant river of sewage right next to the Balanagar fabrication thing, but we got our work done there. And that is what went to a top-notch medical facility. If the hospital saw where we fabricated, they wouldn't touch it in 100 years. Right next to a river of sewage, right, in Balanagar. So that's the